Hi, you guys. So I am going to talk you through 1 hour of a yoga class. I see on my stove that it's 10:40 in San Diego. So we'll do an hour, beginning level-ish. And we'll do mostly action, less talking. So let's start with our feet together, hands together. I'll face you, but you just face the top of your mat, which would be the short end. And we'll just start to breathe through the nose. Try to make your inhales equal to your exhales. Engage the legs. So it's a very different way to stand than when you're online at the grocery store. This is a very intentional alignment. Drop your tailbone down. If you're not sure what I mean, have a look at your screen for a moment. Sometimes we stand like this with our butt sticking out. Try to drop your tailbone down and lift your pubic bone up so that instead your pelvis is more neutral. Okay, open the eyes if they're closed. Lower your arms by your sides. And we're just going to reach up and look up at the thumbs. Exhale your arms by your sides again. Same thing. Inhale, reach up. Try to keep your pelvis neutral even as you reach up. Exhale, arms by the sides. One more time like this. A lot of what we're going to do for this hour is pairing a movement with a breath. Very simple. Inhale, reach up, look up at the thumbs. This time fold forward when you exhale. You can bend your knees if you have any back issues. On your inhale, come either to fingertips or hands to shins, chest forward. Exhale, fold, drop your head. Inhale again, chest forward, legs straight. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale. We're trying to lengthen the side bodies, armpits from hips. Exhale, fold. Inhale again, lengthen. This time we'll step into plank. Palms flat on the ground. Feet go back so that our legs can be straight. If this is too difficult, just put your knees on the floor. We're trying to get a straight line from either feet to head or knees to head. And just notice that sometimes in this pose, the breathing is difficult because it's a physically challenging pose. If it's too difficult and you can't control your breath, you just place the knees down until one day it becomes easier. Okay, on the exhale, downward dog, butt up, chest back. Inhale, forward to plank again. Exhale, press back, downward dog. Inhale to plank. 2 more times like that. You'll get used to these pose names if you don't know them yet. Exhale, downward dog. This is a very common pose. Inhale, plank, also quite common. 1 more time. Exhale. Inhale. And we'll meet in downward dog. Arms straight, legs straight. Drop your head, just relax your neck. You can basically look at your knees or your ankles. Let's start to walk our feet forward toward the hands. Whenever your feet get close, come halfway up for your inhale and drop the head, fold, exhale. Rise all the way up, inhale, palms together if possible. Exhale, arms by the sides. Inhale, reach up, belly in. Exhale, fold, legs can bend if you have any back issues, or maybe your hamstrings are tight. Inhale, lift the chest. And again, we'll step to that plank position. Stay here for a moment. Make sure your fingers are spread wide. And on your next exhale, we're going to come all the way to the belly. We're going to try to get our chest and hips to land at the same time. Untuck the toes, lift the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Your elbows are just in toward your ribs. This is Cobra. On your exhale, let's lower the forehead to the floor. Inhale again, lift up to Cobra. Exhale, Forehead to the floor. This should not hurt your back. If it does, don't come up as high. One more time. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, lower to the forehead. And we'll just straighten the arms. Walk the hands back a few inches so we wind up in tabletop. Next inhale, lift your chest, arch. Exhale to round your back. Drop your chin toward your chest. Inhale to arch. Exhale, round. See if you can do this with your arms straight. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. Also try to keep the weight in your pointer finger knuckles and the inner edge of your hand, because we tend to put too much weight in the wrist. Use your fingers more. The next time you're ready to exhale, lift your knees and press the downward dog. Arms straight, legs straight. Shake out your head or nod your head so that the neck is not tense. Let's start to walk our feet forward toward the hands. Whenever they get there, inhale, chest forward. Exhale, fold. Rise all the way up. Inhale, reach up, look up. Arms by the sides, exhale. We'll go through a sun salutation. Inhale, there's many forms of this. Exhale to fold. We're just going to do this particular one. Inhale, come halfway up. Hands can be on your shins. Exhale, we'll step back to plank and bend the elbows just to 90 degrees. This is chaturanga. Inhale, come to the top of the foot. Lift the chest. Exhale, downward dog. Again, shake out the head so you know your neck is not tense. And try to push the floor away from you so that your hips are moving up and back, away from your armpits. Let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. Whenever you get close, you can come to fingertips or hands to shins. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Rise all the way up. Inhale. Palms together, perhaps. Arms by the sides. Exhale. Inhale. Reach up. Look up. Exhale to fold. This is meant to help us get out of our minds. Inhale. Come halfway up because it's quite repetitive. Exhale, we'll step into plank and bend the elbows 90 degrees. We'll come to the top of the foot, lift the chest, back bend. Exhale to downward dog. We stay there for a few breaths. We try to normalize the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Equality for the inhale and exhale. After your exhale, whenever that is, step walk or jump your feet to your hands. Inhale whenever you're there. Chest forward, exhale to fold, drop your head. Rise all the way up, inhale. Arms by our sides, exhale. We're going to do that same thing one more time, just the repetition of it. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to reach the chest forward. Exhale to step back and bend the elbows. Inhale to back bend. We drop the hips and lift the chest. Exhale to downward dog, which is a forward bend and also an inversion. If downward dog is too difficult for you, you'll come into child's pose, which looks like this. If down dog is too easy for you, you can come into headstand or handstand. If you're in child's pose, return to your downward dog, so that after the exhale, we can step or jump feet to hands. Inhale whenever you're there. Exhale to fold. Rise all the way up. Inhale. And we'll lower the arms by our sides. Exhale. Bend into the knees. Inhale and reach up. Look up at your thumbs. Exhale to stand again, straight legs, arms by the sides. Keep your feet together so that when you reach up, your knees compress into each other. Straighten the legs, exhale, just look straight forward. Again, inhale, bend the knees, lift your chest so your arms can get more vertical. And exhale, arms by your sides. Just one more time like that. Maybe bend your knees more, sink the weight into your heels. And we'll straighten the legs. Okay, hands to prayer. Right in front of the chest. Notice your thumb is centered. It's not near a shoulder. It's just right in the middle. Let's bend the knees, feet together, knees together. We're going to hook our left arm outside of our right leg. And when we do that for this twist, you might notice your thumb is near your shoulder. Push your right hand down into your left hand so that your torso comes up off your thigh and starts to twist open toward the ceiling. Maybe look up to the ceiling. Maybe drop your butt a little bit, sit lower into your chair pose. Take one more breath. And unravel yourself, straighten the legs some amount, and just dangle. I like to shake my head out here. Let's draw the belly in, and bend the knees and start to roll up to standing. So that your arms are heavy, your head is heavy. You just stack your vertebrae. Eventually you wind up with your head stacked. And we'll just do the other side. I'm just going to turn so that I can still face the camera, but you're fine as is. So hands to prayer, bend the knees. We'll hook our right arm outside of our left thigh. And we'll push that left hand down. If we don't push the left hand down, our thumb is just going to stay by that top shoulder. But we want to try to twist more, revolve more, so that our thumb is right center chest. We can even see the ceiling that's right above our mat. Take one more breath here. And slowly unravel yourself, dangle, shake out however you need to. And bend the knees and start the process of rolling up. The more you bend the knees, the easier it is to get your tailbone to angle down so that potentially it feels more comfortable to stack your bones. Okay, we'll come to the top of the mat again, which is not actually the top of the mat. If you're right up here at the tippy top, it's not going to work out. So top of the mat is maybe 1.5 foot back. Okay, reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway up, inhale, side body's long. Step the left foot back, exhale. Right knee bent. So you can keep your fingertips down like this, or you could hold books or yoga blocks like this, so that you're higher up. Notice if I'm on my fingertips, I'm lower. If I'm on books, there's more space between chest and thigh. So you decide. And we're going to straighten the front leg some amount. Inhale. Bend it again on your exhale. Inhale to straighten. Push into the ball of your right foot. Exhale to bend. And again, last time. Inhale, straighten. And exhale to bend. Let's put the palms flat on the floor. Step back to plank. Inhale. Bend the elbows 90 degrees. Exhale. Come to the top of the foot, hips down, chest up. Inhale. And exhale to downward dog. Lift the heels high off the ground. Inhale. Bend the knees. Exhale and look toward your hands. When you're done exhaling, jump your feet forward. Inhale when you're there. And exhale to fold over your legs. Halfway up, inhale. Send the right foot back. So we're just on the other side in this lunge. Make a choice about your blocks or your hooks, your hands. And we'll straighten the left leg. Inhale. Push that left hip back. Exhale, bend the left leg. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. One more time. When I say straighten, it's just as straight as yours can go right now. Exhale to bend. Place the palms flat, step plank. Inhale. Bend the elbows, chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale to upward facing dog. We press into the top of the foot. Exhale to downward dog. We press into the sole of the foot. The heels may not be down. It took me about maybe 7 years of yoga to get my heels to the ground. Okay, lift the right leg up high to the sky. Inhale. Step to the hands. Exhale. High lunge. Arms up. Let's take hold of opposite elbows so that we can pull the elbows back. We'll try to keep our back legs straight. On your next inhale, straighten your front leg as much as you can. Exhale to bend again. You'll notice balance is tricky. Inhale, straighten your front leg, squeeze your thighs together. Exhale, bend your front leg. One more time. If your balance is really nuts, just don't straighten your leg as far, or do something else with your arms that helps you. Let's release the hands down. Just step to downward dog. Butt up, chest back toward the legs. And we're just going to do that same thing on the other side. Left leg up high, inhale. Step to the hands, exhale. As you step forward, some of you just probably landed your foot back here. You can hold your ankle with your left hand and literally pick up that foot and move it forward, because you need quite a lot of space between your feet. Reach up, hold opposite elbows and pull back. So we want our feet to be far enough apart that our front leg can bend about 90 degrees with the knee over the ankle, and our back leg can be straight. Let's straighten the left leg some amount. Inhale. Bend it for the exhale. 2 more times at your breath's pace in the range that you can manage. One of my dance teachers always says, get it where you can. Okay, that next time that your left leg is bent, just release your hands down. Step to downward dog. Shake out your head. A tense neck is not going to make downward dog easier. What will make it easier is straight arms. Okay, right leg up high, inhale. Step that right foot forward to the hands. Make sure your toes line up somewhat with your fingers. So if that right foot is back here somewhere, you need to scooch it up. Any technique you want to get it up there. Reach the arms up, inhale. We'll open to warrior 2, exhale. You stay here, I'm going to flip myself around so that I can still see the camera. So warrior 2, we have a heel to arch alignment. If we took a Sharpie marker and we drew it from that front heel back, it would go to the arch. Front knee is about 90 degrees bent, and we just stay here. It's a very strong pose, hence the name warrior. It's a little misleading because this is warrior 2. There is something called warrior 1, which I find infinitely more difficult. This is a great pose for helping us lift from the belly. So you can visualize a zipping up from your pubic bone up toward the belly button. Okay, let's lower the hands and just step back, downward dog. We'll do the other side, left leg high, inhale. Step forward to the hands, exhale. Lift the arms to the ceiling, inhale. And spin that right heel to the floor, so you're in warrior 2 on side 2. And if your feet didn't wind up in that proper alignment, just move them so that they work themselves out. The gaze in this pose is over your front middle finger. Every pose has a place for your eyes to rest. In the land of Zoom, it's a little difficult because you probably keep checking in with your screen. But as much as you can, just keep your gaze right now over your left middle finger. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And let's lower the hands to the floor. Step back for downward dog. Either stay here or find your child's pose. I'm going to take a moment on my knees to wipe sweat off my face. I always keep a little towel handy, especially in the San Diego summers. Otherwise, little puddles form on the mat and it can get slippery. Okay, let's lift the heels up high. Inhale, arms straight. Bend the knees, look forward toward your hands. Exhale, jump forward. Any amount is fine, doesn't matter where you land. Straighten the legs, inhale, fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, lift the arms. We did this earlier. This is called sometimes chair pose, sometimes awkward pose. In Sanskrit, it's called Utkatasana. We're going to twist to the right, hook our left elbow outside of that right leg. And just like you did before, press your knees together, push your top hand down so your chest lifts up. And we're going to push our legs into our bottom arm. Look down and step your left foot back. So you wind up in this twisted lunge. The hands are the same. All that changed was your left foot moved back. If you can, look up at the ceiling that's directly over your face. Try to breathe steady. You'll notice that in twists, breathing becomes sometimes a little labored. That's natural. Part of the practice is to control the breath. The mind will follow. Let's slowly untwist. We'll place our fingertips down and then our left knee down. Untuck the toes of the back foot, so you have the bony part of your foot on the ground, and place your hands on your right knee. And we'll just try to lift our shoulders over the hips. We'll try to drop our hips low to the ground. And we'll feel a crazy stretch here through the front of the left leg. So this is a lot for your back leg. The more you can handle, the more you're going to bend your front leg. Okay, fingertips down. Straighten the front leg as much as you can. If you find that your butt is dropping like this towards your back heel, just slide your back knee back or your front foot front so that you have this back thigh roughly vertical. Then you're going to be able to fold more over your front leg. You'll feel more stable. Flex your front foot if you can. Engage the quadriceps of that right leg so that you can safely stretch the hamstring. Okay, let's rebend the front leg. We're going to turn this into triangle pose. Lift the back knee and spin that back foot to the ground. The back foot will face the long edge of the mat. Right hand to the right leg, left arm up. So that right foot is facing straight forward, left foot straight to the side. That right hand is somewhere along the leg where you can still keep this right leg straight. So I'm holding my big toe with my first two fingers and thumb. But if you hold that spot and you wind up like this with your front leg bent, that's a different pose. So make sure the right leg is straight, and that will help you decide where to put your hand. It's also going to change over time. Okay, release the hands to the floor. Bend the front knee. Step back, plank. Inhale in your plank. Bend your elbows for chaturanga. Exhale. Lift your chest. Press into your toenails. Back bend. Exhale to downward dog. Lift your heels up high. Inhale. We're going to go right into the second side. Bend the knees. Exhale. Look forward and jump some amount forward. Inhale whenever you get there. Exhale to fold over your legs. Drop your head. Bend your knees. Lift your arms. So this is the back bend. It counters the forward bend you just did. And we'll twist to the left. I'm going to turn around so I can still be facing you. So that right arm is outside of the left thigh. We push our left hand down so that our chest rises up. And for balance, gaze down toward your feet. And when you can, step your right foot back. So you're in a twisted lunge. The more your left leg is pushing into your arm, the easier that's going to be to stay balanced. When you can, gaze up. See the ceiling right above your face. One more breath. We'll slowly unravel. We'll lower the right knee to the floor, untuck the back toes. We'll walk the hands up to that left thigh. So we're stretching through the right hip flexors, which will be this region, through the front of the thigh. We're letting the chest move away from the front thigh as the hips drop down toward the floor. Okay, fingertips down. Straighten the front leg. I like to move my left knee, or this would be right knee on this side. I like to move the right knee back a bit. I find it easier to then straighten the left leg. A lot of people move the front foot. You could do either way. Path of least resistance is usually a good one. So we'll reach our armpits away from our hips. We'll fold over that left leg, flex the foot, engage the quads. Sometimes I use my pants to wipe sweat off my face in this pose. Okay, into triangle pose. So we'll place the left foot on the ground, facing the small edge of the mat, lift the right knee, spin the back foot down so those toes face the long edge. With the short edge and the long edge square on. Find your left hand somewhere comfortable and start to open up to the side. In this pose, the gaze is at your top hand. Keep pushing the feet firmly down into the ground so that you can start to spin your chest open, inch by inch. Okay, and lower the hands to the floor. Step back to plank, inhale. Bend the elbows for chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing dog is our low back bend, countered by downward dog, the forward bend. 2 more breaths here. Straight arms. We'll lift the heels high, inhale. Bend the knees, exhale, look forward, jump some amount forward. Inhale whenever you're there. Exhale to fold, head drops, bend the knees. That awkward chair pose again, Utkatasana. And again, let's place our hands in center, prayer position. We'll just place our right ankle on the lower left thigh. If balance is crazy, hold on to something. I could hold on to this cat condo, it would do just fine. So flex that right foot. Start to lean your chest forward and stick your butt out. And just go as much as your right hip will allow you to. Some of you, your elbow is going to be on that inside of your knee. If you're advanced and you're just taking this class because it's an hour long, go for Galavasana. You could even go Galavasana to tripod headstand and do anything fancy there that you want. There is no end to how difficult we can make our poses. Let's start to rise up. Lower that right foot and bring the left ankle up. So it's on the lowest part of your thigh. And then when you bend your right knee, your right thigh makes a table essentially. One of the reasons that we do difficult poses is to get out of our heads. When you feel like you are challenged, you're about to fall over, that is all you're thinking about. You're not somewhere else. You're in your moment. You're on your mat. Let's slowly rise up. Release that left foot. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Come halfway up for your inhale, and we'll send the left foot back. Warrior one. We'll spin that back heel to the floor. The left foot will be about a 45-degree angle to the side. Our right foot straight forward. Reach the arms up, bend that front leg, straighten the back leg. Infinitely more difficult than warrior two. If it is too much for you, if you have any back pain here, just spin your back foot up so the toes face front. That makes a very big difference. We're trying to keep our hips facing front. Let's lower the fingertips down. We're going to slide our back foot in about 6 inches and straighten the right leg. Place your left hand either on the floor, the shin, or here's the book. This is what it would look like if we had a hand on the book. We're going to reach our right arm up. Your hand can be on any surface that suits you. I like to put it on the pinky toe side of the foot because I've been doing this pose for 2 decades. The first 10 years or so, I had my hand on the big toe side of the foot. Maybe even higher up, maybe on fingertips, because then the twist is a little bit more friendly. Every time you do it, it will get a little bit easier, but you'll start to notice a different aspect of the pose. Let's slowly unravel. Step your back foot back further. We're going to walk our right foot to the left. Let's scooch it along, and we'll come into pigeon, right knee down, left leg back. This is not a resting pose. A lot of people think it is. But we're trying to square our hips to the front of the mat, which takes a lot of work. Just like when you were in that lunge earlier and I told you to straighten your front leg and you had to squeeze your legs like crazy to get the balance. Same thing here. You can drop your head if you want. You can make a pillow with your forearms. Really anything with your arms. If you feel like you're tipping over onto the right side, I'm going to face this way to show you this aspect. If you're tipping and you feel like this left hip is not facing the ground, it's facing off to left field, just use your hands out to the side, especially this right hand, and push down so that you bring yourself more to square. So the hands are very helpful in steering you. Okay, so to get out of here, I'll face this way. We're just going to place our hands down in front of the shin, lift the back knee, step to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. Try to relax your neck in this downward dog. Okay, we'll lift the left leg up high, inhale. We'll step forward, exhale. We're getting into warrior one, slightly different way, but it's the same thing. Spin your right heel to the floor and reach up. So that back foot is at an angle. The front foot straight forward. That right hip, we're trying to move it forward so that it is square to the top edge of the mat. You can have your hands together or apart. If it's very difficult, sometimes holding the opposite elbow makes the arm position easier so that you can deal more with your hips and legs. Okay, fingertips down. Twisted triangle. So we'll scoot our right foot in. That heels will line up, but that right foot is still at an angle. Make a choice about your right hand. Either palm down, or fingertips, or a book, or a block, or a shin bone. Left arm up. Keep the legs straight. If you're able, look at your left thumb. In this pose, that would be the drishti, which is the Sanskrit word that we use for the gaze. Okay, we'll untwist. We'll step the right foot further back so that we can come into pigeon. That left foot will just scooch over to the right side of the mat, and we'll lower the knee. You can have this left foot as close as you want to the right hip. Some days I have it real close. Other days I have it more parallel to the top of the mat. You just play it by ear. Use your hands as you need to balance so that you know that your hips are facing down. And this should feel pretty good on the outside of the left hip. If you have any back issues, try to do this more often. Or if you do a lot of sitting, okay, we'll start to walk the hands in. Once you have weight in your hands, step to plank, 2 straight legs, 2 straight arms. Exhale for chaturanga, elbows bend about 90 degrees. Inhale, upward facing dog, chin up. Exhale, downward facing dog, butt up. Take 3 breaths here. I'm going to check in with my clock on the stove. You stay put. Okay. Time moves very quickly. Okay, let's lift the right leg high for an inhale and step it forward any amount. Exhale. It doesn't have to be all the way to the hands if you don't want. We're just going to creep the fingers forward and lift the left leg off the ground. Grab your block or your book or just stay on your fingertips. Stack your left hip and lift your left arm. I'll show you from the other direction. So our hips are now facing the long edge of the mat. The chest is facing the long edge of the mat. We're trying to keep both legs straight. And if we can, we'll look up at the left thumb. Balance is trickier when you look up, so you might want to eliminate that piece. Okay, lower the left fingertips. We'll just bend the knees and step the feet together so that we can come into the other side. Right leg will lean back. Extend away from your center, your core, right arm up. So we have our foot pressing back and our head extending forward. So we're taking up a lot of space. This will be easier if your standing leg is bent. So over the years, you just try to straighten it more. Take 2 more breaths. We'll lower the right fingertips down, step the feet together, bend both knees and squat. So some of you, squatting like this is not going to be comfortable for various reasons, ankles and knees. So you can have your feet further apart, and you can either be up here pretty high, or you can be low but with the feet still apart. Any of those things. Over time, it gets easier. Okay, bring your butt down to the ground. Straighten the legs out in front. Let's place the hands by the hips. This is Dandasana, mother of all sitting poses. So we have our legs very strong, our feet flexed, shoulders back. If you feel like this, like you're stuck in this rounded shape, take a book or 2 or any height of book and put it under your butt. It will be then much easier to sit upright. You could be on something 4 inches tall even, that might help. Okay, we'll cross the shins, place your hands. If you have a block there, just kick it out of the way. Vinyasa, that would be the exhale for chaturanga, the inhale for upward facing dog, and the exhale for downward facing dog. Really, vinyasa is just pairing a movement with the breath. But the most common thing we do with the word vinyasa is we go through that little chaturanga, up dog, down dog sequence. Okay, let's jump forward and sit on the butt. We'll bring our right foot to our left inner thigh. Place the sole of the foot firmly. Knees are 90 degrees apart. Inhale, reach up. Twist to face the left leg. Exhale to fold. Reach toward that foot. Anywhere you hold is fine. Just keep reaching your armpits toward your foot. You might want to drop the head to your leg, or you might want to keep looking at the foot. Either way. Breathe. Keep your left quadriceps strong. Next inhale, we'll release the foot or the leg, rise up, and bring this right leg across to hold in the elbow or any other way. So this is imitating that pigeon pose that you did. If you can't get your foot in your elbow, no worries, just hold on to the outer shin. Might be out here a little bit lower in front of you. As it comes up a little higher, it will be tempting to sit in this little slouchy position. Try not to do that. Chest up. No matter where your leg is, whether it's far down or high up, roll your shoulders back. Take one more breath here. And we'll place this right foot near our right hip. So the heel is going to be by your sitting bone. That right foot will face the long edge of the mat. The knee is going to stay pretty much right here. We're going to twist toward the left leg and start to fold some amount. Your hands on the floor, however you need them to be to steer you. I'm just going to face this way to show you a common mistake. Just like our pigeon, we start to kind of roll over to the side. So we got to push our left hand into the floor, help keep us on track. I like to also reach the right hand to the left foot. At the same time, your right knee is pushing back, just with your mental capacity. There's nothing pushing it back except your mind saying, move back. Okay, let's release, rise up, undo your legs, cross your shins, plant your hands and step into plank. Vinyasa, exhale to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. And we'll come through to sitting and do it all on the other side. So we start in that Dandasana type position, legs straight. This is that blueprint of sitting poses. Bring the left foot to your right thigh, 90 degrees between the thighs. Inhale, reach up. Twist to face the right leg. Exhale, fold. Continue to breathe steady. You might notice that this pose feels easier than some of the other things we've done. Sometimes in the easy pose, our mind wanders, or we're not even noticing what the breath is doing. Okay, next inhale, we'll sit up. And we'll take baby cradle, holding somewhere along the foot or the shin, or place your foot in the elbow crease. If you are placing your foot in your elbow crease, make sure this foot is very flexed. And no matter where you're holding, whether it's here holding the shin or the foot is in the elbow, make sure it's coming across your body as opposed to out here somewhere. So the shin is not facing the diagonal. It's coming straight across your torso. It's difficult, but it helps with everything. Okay, let's place our left foot on the mat. The heel is going to be close to your sitting bone. The left toe is facing away from you, straight away. Left arm is going to reach toward the right foot. Doesn't have to actually reach it. Right hand will just come out like a kickstand, and you'll start to fold. So the tendency on this, in this pose, is for this knee to start to drop toward your shoulder. But as soon as you do that, the hip stretch is gone. So keep it pressing back as best you can. Okay, and we'll slowly release, rise up. Just cross the shins, plant your hands, step into plank, and cycle through your vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, strong legs. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll jump through, have a seat. We could have a whole class just on how to jump through, so don't worry about it for now, just get your butt to the ground. We're gonna bring our right foot in, close to our hips, facing front. Hug your knee to your left shoulder. Look back over your right shoulder. If this is too easy, instead of hug your knee, hook your arm outside of your thigh. If this is too easy, bind around. If you're new to yoga, the bind is not really gonna happen today. But some of you are taking this class because it's an hour. So I wanna give you that option. This is Marichyasana C. One more breath. We'll slowly unwind. Straighten out both legs and just roll down slowly to your back. We will do the other side just soon, not quite yet. So once you get to your back, just release your arms and bring your knees to your chest. Notice how your back is flat on the ground. Not even an ant could walk from one side of your mat to the other. Keep that, just drop your toes to the ground. And you'll notice your abdominals work. And bring your knees to the chest again, it's very easy. And then bring your toes to the floor. You need to work a little bit. And just do that a few times at whatever pace suits you. But don't give any opportunity for an ant to crawl from one side to the other. We'll make it a little bit harder. We'll bring the legs to about a 90-degree bend, and then bring the knees over the hips. And just see if you can maintain this. If this is going well, let one foot come down, and then rise up again. And then the other foot come down, and rise up again. And make sure that your back stays flush with the ground. If it's too easy, you can go both legs at once. But if at any point your back lifts up, you know you've just gone a little too far and maybe you decrease your range of movement just a little bit. Okay, let's bring the knees toward the chest. Hold the shin bones with your hands and start to rock forward and back. I like to bring the chin to the chest so that the back is quite rounded. So there's no jagged edges when you rock. And we'll come up to sit. And we'll do our Marichyasana C on the other side. Right leg straight, left foot is close to you. So there's no gap here between the calf and the thigh. Hug your knee to your right shoulder. Or hook your arm. This hand behind you is helping you sit up straight. If you want the bind, by all means, turn your thumb down, wrap your hand around your shin. Your elbow is going to be bending in front of your shin, and you can lift your second hand. If you lift your second hand, you no longer have it to help you sit up tall. So that's yet another detail you have to work out. Take one more breath. We'll slowly unravel. Let go of that left leg. We'll lean back just a little bit, and we'll lift the legs. So we're in this low boat pose. We're reaching our fingers toward the toes. We can look at our belly and see that it's flat. There's no mountain of abdominal strength. Draw the belly in. Let's rise up. We're going to hug our knees into the chest. So your weight is a little further forward toward the sitting bones. And lift the arms and legs up. Two more breaths. I like to push the edges of the feet together. Gives me something to think about, because otherwise this pose is kind of hellacious. Let's return to the squat. Feet down. Widen your knees so that your torso can come through. Place the hands. Step back to plank. Vinyasa. Exhale for chaturanga. Inhale for upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Stay here for 2 breaths. Let's rock forward to plank. And slowly come to your belly. Elbows bend. Chest and hips land at the same time. Let's bring our arms by our sides. Knuckles on the floor. We're going to just lift our chest and shoulders up. That's a lot of back strength. If you can, lift your legs up. We'll keep the legs straight. So it's like we're trying to touch the wall behind us. And we'll keep pressing our knuckles into the floor. In this pose, the gaze is toward the tip of your nose. And don't do it so intensely that you make yourself cross-eyed, but just gently gaze down. Let's slowly come down. Place your hands under your shoulders. Inhale to lift the shoulders up. I like to roll toward the top of the foot and turn it into a full upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Okay, another back bend. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale to your belly. This time we'll bend the knees. We'll try to hold the ankles. Once you feel comfortable with this, kick. If you do not feel comfortable with this, repeat what we did moments ago. You'll start to kick harder and harder if you're in this pose. And again, the gaze is down the nose. The more you kick, the more your chest and shoulders will open. Let's slowly come on down. Release the grip. Hands under the shoulders. I use the feet and the hands together to propel me into upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, let's jump through and have a seat. We're going to lay down. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor close to your butt so your fingers can at least touch your heels. Then bend the elbows 90 degrees, palms face each other. Push the elbows down. You're going to feel your chest lift. Then push the feet down, get the hips to lift. Keep breathing here. Get your hips as high as you can. Keep pressing the back of your head gently into the floor so that at no point does your chin and chest mush together. And slowly come on down. Okay, I'm going to wipe sweat. We're going to lift up again. Those of you who can do Urdhva Dhanurasana, if you know what that is, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, lift your hips. This time, arms under the back. So you have to roll to one side and get that other shoulder under you. Then I'm going to roll to the right, get the left shoulder under. So it's a little rocking back and forth. Eventually, get your fingers to interlace. Press into your feet. Get your hips up higher. So we're stretching the whole front side of the body. In normal daily life, you don't get a lot of opportunity for this. Let's slowly release. You can let go of the hands, drop your butt to the floor slowly, and release your shoulders from that pinned position. Okay, knees into the chest. Rock and roll a little side to side perhaps, just to massage out the back a little bit. And place the shins firmly in the hands. That would be kicking them forward a little bit. And we'll start to rock forward and back. Just like what you did before, but it's a little different feeling now because you've just done some back bends. So whenever you can, cycle through your vinyasa. Bring the hands down, step the feet back. Exhale for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing. Okay, jump through, have a seat. I'm just checking out the clock. Our class is so hard for me to pull off. Okay, we're gonna go for double pigeon. So you did pigeon earlier. You had one leg folded like this in front, the other one behind you. So now we're gonna try to stack our shins, flex both feet. And if we look down and see this equilateral triangle, you know you're in the right spot. Sometimes we call this ankle to knee pose because you're stacking those joints. If it's too much, that top foot, you're gonna slide in more, or the bottom leg, you'll just straighten. So right leg on top, both sitting bones down. So if that's not happening, raise your butt up on a book or a block. And when you can, right arm is going to come up and over to the left. The left hand is going to catch us. So we don't wind up leaning. At all times, our right sitting bone is still on the ground because this left hand is helping to push it there. We wind up with this great stretch for the right side of the body. Some of you, your left elbow is going to stay on the floor. That will just happen naturally. You don't have to really think about that happening. You just want to straighten this arm and this side of the body so that you feel something in the ribs, intercostals. Take a full breath. And we'll rise up and start to walk the fingers forward and bring the chest toward the shin bone, as close as it will go. Let's rise up. We're going to change the legs so that the other one is on top. This is a great pose to do every day. You do not need a whole hour of a yoga practice. You can do this while you're watching TV. Just be aware of the tendency for us to slump. And instead, shoulders back, like you're making yourself into a presence, like you're performing on a stage. You wouldn't ever perform like this or do public speaking like this. You would present yourself. So same idea here. We'll lift the left arm up, like that armpit is trying to run away from the hip, and start the side bend any amount. I can feel that this side is quite tight for me, so each inhale I'm going to reach with that top arm, and each exhale I'm going to try to anchor that left sitting bone down a little bit more. And it's nice to take each breath as a half breath, because in each pose, the inhale serves a different function than the exhale. So it's nice, inhale, lengthen, exhale, root. There's a million things that you could say as a little mantra to keep you focused. Okay, we'll rise up for an inhale, and we'll start to walk the hands forward any amount. As your hips and back open more, you'll be able to fold more. Other poses then become accessible. Okay, we'll rise up. We're just going to open the legs to a V position. We'll do 2 more forward bends, and then we'll take Shavasana. So in this V position, legs are straight, feet flex, kneecaps facing the ceiling. Don't let them drop in or out, straight up. Walk the hands forward till they don't want to go anymore. Don't let your ego get in the way here. So if you need to be 3 inches forward, if this is how far you walked, in order to keep the integrity of the legs, knees facing up, feet flexed, just be here. There's no sense in letting your ego walk you further forward if you've just lost the integrity of the pose. You could keep your arms in front of you, or you can reach for the edges of your feet. Just take 2 more breaths wherever you went. Calf muscles pushing down is a great way to keep the legs behaving. And we'll just come on up to sitting and we'll start wiggling the feet together. Okay, forward bend over 2 legs. If you have any back issues, just bend your knees. Do something more like this. Otherwise, you could keep your legs straight. You don't have to hold your feet. If they're far away, just hold your shins. You could look at your feet or you could drop your head. Let's take a few more breaths here. For the next breath, think about drawing your belly in more. So it's not quite resting on your thighs. And for this next breath, try to bring your shoulders away from your ears. Keeping all that for your final breath in this pose, try to bring your armpits further forward away from your hips. Okay, and we'll slowly rise up. Let's lower down to our backs. We're just going to take one little twist in each direction before Shavasana. Arms out in the T. Drop the knees over toward the left elbow. Gaze over to the right hand. That's going to help you keep your right shoulder on the floor. One knee at a time through center. Drop your knees to the right elbow. Gaze to the left. And bring the legs through center. And release them out into Shavasana, which would be a few different options. If you have any back issues, you're going to put your feet at the edges of your mat and let your knees drop together. Palms will be facing up. Arms are about a 45-degree distance from the body. If you have no back issues, the arms would be the same, but just let your legs extend out and flop open. So you're no longer engaging anything. You're not controlling the breath anymore. It can do whatever it wants. But you can become a third-party observer to it. This pose helps us create some distance between our eternal selves and our human form that we'll only have for 80 to 100 years, if we're lucky. We'll be here for about 2 or 3 minutes. Normally we would be about 5 minutes. But you might find that this is the hardest pose of the whole class. It's called Shavasana, which means corpse pose. Start to wiggle fingers and toes. Keep the eyes closed and bring the knees in toward your chest. You're just curled up in a little ball. Roll over to your right side. You can extend your right arm to make a pillow. And just take a few breaths in this fetal position. And start to sit up. Keep the eyes closed. You can face any direction. You could arrange your legs in any way you want. It's common to go for some cross-legged position, but it does not have to be that. We'll just bring the hands to prayer. We'll take a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale through the mouth. Same thing again, inhale. Probably when you get to the top of the breath, you can sip in a little extra air. You have more capacity than you thought. Exhale through the mouth. And inhale, bring the hands up to the third eye, thumbs between the eyebrows. And on your exhale, fold forward any amount. We always end a class with the word namaste, which in India they use as hello and goodbye very commonly, sort of like how aloha would be in Hawaii. But the deeper meaning of it is that the eternal in me acknowledges and respects the eternal in you. Namaste.